credit government for e-learning, while in Mubende, 33-year-old Kiza Wilberforce is optimistic of success. Take a look.
At 9 a.m., over 33,000 senior 4 candidates of 2020 across the country started writing their UNEB exams to last for a month. The exercise coincided with the opening of schools for semi-candidate classes of P6, Senior 3 and Senior 5.
Have your ID and examination cards held together.
Senior 4 candidates have started with Physics Paper 3, which is a science practical, followed by Fine Art in the afternoon. At Koro Senior Secondary School, 744 registered candidates have done their papers in shifts under proper observance of the set standard operating procedures to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Teachers also were prepared to receive them and work hand in hand with them to see that we produce the best out of these students.
The paper being the first on the timetable, candidates have shared their experience and expectations.
Immediately, when they gave me the paper, I first prayed. After, then I started my paper. It wasn't hard, it was somehow, it was fair, and I expect much on that paper.
The Senior 4 UNEB exams have coincided with the opening of the new term for Senior 3 and Senior 5, although turn-up was low.
But emotionally and mentally they were not here. So we had that challenge, and our Department of Counseling and Guidance worked tirelessly to see that it brings back the students to school and helped us. And we believe we have prepared them adequately.
At Mitiana Modern Senior Secondary School, UCE started on time and candidates promised to excel despite the fact that COVID-19 pandemic affected their studies. School administrators had a task of compressing the teaching material in the limited time.
Science practicals, because these equipments that people use, the apparatus, are very expensive, and the government schools and the private schools do buy these apparatuses from the same market. So as private schools, we ask the government of Uganda, mainly the Ministry of Education, to come in and assist private schools.
Physics Paper 3 being the first on the timetable, private schools want the government to subsidize on the science subject equipment to facilitate these subjects. Abdul Nasser, Lubwama, UBC News.
Now, over 33,000 ESFO candidates of last year, 2020, across the country have today started their UNEB examinations following the President's lifting the ban of opening schools as a result of COVID-19 pandemic last year. Now, these candidates were to sit for their UNEB examinations in 2020 between the months of October and November. However, it was not possible because of the pandemic.
Physics and Fine Art have opened the 2020 schedule for the Uganda Certificate of Education examinations. At Comprehensive High School Mubende, COVID-19 reduced numbers but benefited people like 33-year-old Kiza Wilberforce, who realized the value of education amidst the pandemic.
Yagenda okudda omutuufu alina kyanoonya ankoze bulungi nnyo nti agezaako n'okubuulira abaana musaayi muto egiriwo bwatutuuza abaana 153 oluvannyuma lwa covid twali tutuuza abaana 200 naye covid eno yatwafekitingamu katono awo yenamba eyasobola okujja.
The area education supervisor John Ngirabakunzi warns against malpractice.
Tulowooza nti omwana yenna analeeta ebitakiriziganya n'amateeka ga UNEB bajja kuba nga bamulabye era tujja kumukwasa n'amateeka bwe galagira.
At Iganga Secondary School, credit went to parents that enabled 100% of the candidates to return after lockdown.
We would like to thank the parents because they have brought back all our students. There is no single girl who got pregnant I would like to thank the church for the spiritual mentoring of the kids.
Government's e-learning has also been appreciated for playing a key part in preparing students for this examination session.
Strategies we have used is the Ministry of Education provided with the course on Commonwealth integration of ICT, which has been very, very good, instrumental in enabling teachers to disseminate information on the net. So most of the information which has been got has been put on net, and it has helped the students get a lot of confidence, a lot of maneuvering in getting information.
What I know, I've been serious throughout. I've been joining discussion groups, consulting teachers where I don't know, so I expect good marks.
Our teachers have been providing study materials through internet, e-learning. So we've been able to access that one, and through discussion groups we are going to make it.
All hasn't been well in areas like Asese municipality, where at schools like Royal Ranges Secondary School, only 35 of the 50 candidates sat.
2 schools that were seriously affected by the floods. That is Kilembe SS and Royal Ranges. Royal Ranges was completely swept off. Now that one has shifted their center to the mines. Kilembe mines has given them a hall at the recreation center. That one is accessible, and I think they will have to do their work there very easily.
This Kasese area was devastated by floods that left homelessness.
The examination process, there's no reason why it should not go on smoothly, because we have been teaching, all the teachers reported back. We did not lose any teacher as a result of the flooding or as a result of COVID. Our students reported back.
But despite all these challenges amidst the pandemic, Standard High School Nyamwamba head teacher Robert Bario is optimistic. Unsurprisingly, and this due to COVID-19, there has been a reduction in number of candidates, with 333,775 seating, while in 2019 there were 337,697.
Really, we had made much relaxation, but when we came back, the teachers hustled so much because most of us had backslided in the reading culture, then discipline also, you know.
Meanwhile, there has been a general lower turn-up of semi-candidate students in Imbali city, now in almost all private and government-owned schools. Take a look at the story. All right, apologies for that. But in March 2020, Uganda closed all academic institutions after the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. However, on the 4th of February this year, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni announced the 1st of March 2021 as the day of the reopening of schools for semi-candidates, universities and tertiary institutions, which were to open in a staggered manner. Now, Makerere University is among the institutions that has reopened its doors to the first-year students. Now, our reporter Charlotte Amuge was at Makerere University and filed this report.
At Makerere University, the oldest institution of higher learning, it was business as usual, as the new students not only registered but also started their first lectures. Nonetheless, the learning process at the institution is not the usual due to the current pandemic.
It is the first-year students who are going to be on campus, considering that they are getting new to it. They are transitioning from a secondary system of education to now a higher institutions of learning system. And considering that they have not been on campus before, and also that they may not be electronic friendly, so they were given priority to be on campus. Today they started lectures and being introduced to the online system, so that after the 4 weeks, they are going to be here for 4 weeks. We expect that end of March they should be leaving the premises on campus so that they can embark on online classes for the rest of the semester until when next rescheduled to come back on campus, probably for exams.
Despite this initiative, some of the first-year students are skeptical about the e-learning process and what it entails.
Honestly, when it comes to the online studies, I'm quite scared about them. I feel like I'm not going to get my best out of it. But given the status quo, I mean, we just have to fit in. But now I can imagine having to be in my hostel. I mean, for example, my room has terrible network, and I'm struggling to catch up with, you know, this whole thing. I mean, there was the job of having to buy data, you know. I mean, it's quite a lot.
I'm not really okay with online studies because it's really good for you to be in touch with the lecturer, like site and so on, asking questions when you're looking at the person. But as for me, if that is what it brings, then I'm okay with it.
But to some, the initiative is the right precaution in not only following the standard precautions in the fight against the spread of the coronavirus, but in taking the education sector forward.
At the moment, it is a question of survival. All of us would have wished to have a semester reopen, come back to campus, study, access the library, do this and the other. But in the circumstances, we need to operate in the hardest situations that are around and make sure our education is not interrupted with, and make sure that at least we try to catch up with the time that we have already lost.
At the moment, only first-year students are welcome on the Makerere University premises, while the second, third and fourth-year students are yet to be invited back to the institution. Charlotte Amuge and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
Meanwhile, in Imbali, there has been a general low turn-up of semi-candidate students in the city and in almost private and government-owned schools. Take a look at the story.
After a year of students staying at home due to COVID-19 pandemic, reporting back to school in Imbali city has been very poor, despite schools adhering to all the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. Head teachers of various schools say the most challenging obstacle is school fees, as most of the parents are not earning. Richard Owino Katandi, head of St. Mary's Secondary School, says the issue cuts across all parents, and as a result, management has decided that all students with half tuition have been allowed to begin the term. Meanwhile, the head teacher in charge of academics at Nkoma Senior Secondary School, Hamza Sendagile, says they have not had any challenge on the first day of the UCE exams.
Whoever was registered has reported. However, we have received only 2 cases whereby one is a victim of cerebral malaria and it has disturbed him so much. He has been on and off, but our counseling team plus the nurse have handled, and he has managed to write up to the end.
Imbali SS had one candidate with a disabled hand, but UNEB sent a special examiner to monitor and guide him through the physics practical exam.
This year we have one student who is they call them special needs, one of special needs education, who has a defective hand, and a special examiner has been sent to guide him to do the practicals, and normally special needs students are given 45 more minutes. So that single student by the name of Wavire somebody is under supervision of UNEB as a special needs child. I think he got a stroke when he was young, and the one with the hands cannot function as a normal hand.
Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
UBC News at 8. Now, the Ministry of Works and Transport has officially handed over Uganda Driving Licenses System project to Uganda Security Printing Company. Now, the official handover ceremony was presided over by State Minister for Works, Joy Kabatsi, who also commissioned the new offices of USPC situated now at the Uganda Railway Corporation.
Uganda Security Printing Company is set to commence issuance of driving license, taking over from the Chambogo-based Face Technologies. The company will also be responsible for supplying all government security documents. State Minister for Works, Joy Kabasi, who presided over the handover ceremony, called for commitment from the management of USPC.
To urge the management of USPC to exhibit a high level of professionalism in your services. And we wish also to commend the outgoing service provider, Face Technology, for the job well done.
She says the Ministry of Works and Transport is committed to supporting Uganda Security Printing Company in ensuring operations at the company go on smoothly.
The beginning can never be smooth. We are going to encounter hurdles along the way. However, we look forward to a brighter future.
The Commissioner, Transport Regulation and Safety in the Ministry of Works, Katushabe Winston, assures Ugandans of quality work.
Give guarantee without fear or favor that you will not forge this permit, this driving license. That's the assurance I can give to the nation, and because already the one we have, which we are phasing out, they are tempted, and this has more even security parameters compared to the one we are phasing out. Even when the
Managing Director, USPC George Mugera, reaffirms their commitment to serve the public diligently.
We are mindful of the benchmark, the standards that have been set by our predecessors. And we really get committed to say that we shall use these standards as our benchmark.
According to Ms. Kabasi, the Works Ministry is also planning to open new branches in areas of Kabale, Hoima, Lira and Moroto. The new driving license will be issued for a period of 1 year, 3 years and 5 years. Prior to the latest development, Face Technologies has been described by many people as one of the most efficient entities in the country. Devoid of corruption and politicking, it remains to be seen whether or not USPC will maintain the standards set by their predecessor. Jane Ramcha, UBC News.
Now, the NRM chairperson, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also happens to be the current chairperson of the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue body, which is a body which anchors all political parties with parliamentary representatives, will be chairing this year's third Ordinary Leaders Summit. Now, the summit, to be attended by political party presidents and secretary generals, will take place on the 5th of March this week at Kololo Independence Grounds.
This Friday, 5th March 2021, the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue IPOD will hold its third Ordinary Leaders Summit since the last one held on 12th December 2018.
As you may all know, that after elections, a number of things have come up, and therefore there are many reasons for dialogue.
With NRM being the current chair of the IPOD Council, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who also serves as the NRM chairperson, will chair Friday's summit, which will convene at Kololo Independence Grounds.
Due to the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic and the preventive guidelines in place, the summit shall take place at Kololo Independence Grounds, Kampala, starting at 11 a.m. The presidents or the heads of political parties that fall under IPOD and secretaries general of the political parties shall be the people to attend this. That will be chaired by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the current chairman of IPOD, and the chairman, the IPOD Summit, and the chairman of the National Resistance Movement.
With all the member political parties, presidents and secretaries general expected to attend, the IPOD Council chairperson, also NRM Secretary General Justin Kasule Lumumba, says the summit will, among other tasks, review previous summit resolutions.
Enhancing electoral integrity and reviewing the role of security agencies in the electoral process, among others, will be discussed.
The summit is also expected to review and make a follow-up on the various summit resolutions, including but not limited to the agreed position on the effective implementation of the Public Order Management Act, POMA.
The 2021 election aftermath will also top the summit agenda.
For those who are asking questions, answers must be given, because the chairperson of the current IPOD summit, that is His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, he's the head of state. So whatever happens in this country, we're also going to use this opportunity for him being chair to respond to these issues. So it is an opportunity for political leaders on Friday to come and raise what they think should be discussed, should they adopt the principle of having a discussion as leaders, and who are the people to be involved in that.
This joint political news address was attended by Secretaries General from the NRM as the chair, Democratic Party, Uganda People's Congress, and Justice Forum, JEMA.
The Democratic Party is here, and the Democratic Party is very, very, very committed to the dialogue processes. Even if it will remain the Democratic Party alone, we are committed to the dialogue process. Even if we remain alone on the table of dialogue, we will be the last to quit dialogue, because as DP is the only thing we understand. We don't have masses in the house that we shall depend on them. We have never gone to the bush that we shall depend on the history of the Bush War. We have been an institution that believes in discussion and engagement.
The issues that we are going to discuss are critical. We know we all rise together and fall together as one nation and one people. We need to build unity and peace and security for our children and our grandchildren.
I would like to call upon Ugandans to support this initiative. We are all aware that we have issues, but these issues cannot go away unless we sit down as a country and talk about them.
However, Forum for Democratic Change Party FDC has distanced itself from the summit process.
We've received the invitation, and the FDC president in particular, because this is a summit, will be making a formal response to the NRM, who are now currently the leaders of IPOD. So the FDC is unable to attend that meeting.
Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue is an umbrella where Uganda's political parties with parliamentary representation convene to harmonize their political operations, and with support by the Netherlands Institute of Governance, the bloc has in the past registered tremendous achievements. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, opposition politicians have been cited as the major violators of the Inspectorate of Government online declaration system module for failure to disclose their assets and liabilities. Now, this has been disclosed at the launch of the 2021 Inspectorate of Government online declaration period in Kampala. The Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera says there is need to train investigators and judicial officials and equip them in the fight against corruption, with the Inspectorate working hand in hand with the justice, law and order sector.
The Inspectorate of Government has launched an online declaration system which will enable leaders to submit their declarations of income, assets and liabilities online. The system has been designed to make the declaration fast, efficient and effective.
It has also solved the problem of lack of storage space. We had that big problem. It has also helped us ease data capture, search, analysis, comparison and retrieval.
The new leaders, especially politicians, are expected to fill in the forms within 3 months and must declare their assets, income and liabilities in June after swearing in. At the launch of the online declaration system, the Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera expressed the need to train prosecutors and judicial officers in the fight against corruption.
Keep in mind that even for cases of corruption, there must be due process. The corrupt must be afforded a fair hearing. The prosecution by the DPP's office or the IG's office has the duty to prove the cases they bring to court beyond reasonable doubt. This places a heavy burden on the prosecution and on the investigators. There is need, therefore, to train the prosecutors, train the investigators, judicial officers, and equip them to play this extremely important role in the fight against corruption. Judicial officers will not work until the prosecutors have done their work properly.
Butera says the manual method of the declaration was expensive in terms of time and human resource and implored all officials in public offices to declare their assets within the time prescribed by the law.
Since the anti-corruption court was established, this expeditious disposal of anti-corruption cases has greatly improved. And it may take some time to investigate, but the trials have been taking quite a short disposal time rate.
Butera says there is need for sensitization of leaders who seem to abuse the Inspectorate of Government declaration system. The Deputy Inspector General of Government, George Bamugemerere, says there is need to put in place measures to strengthen relationship between the Inspectorate and the judiciary.
IG staff possess very strong report writing skills, which we think the judiciary could benefit from, as good writing constitutes an essential competence for writing judgments. We therefore think that there is a lot the two institutions could do together, and the leaders of the two organizations should probably engage further.
Unregistered land and property challenges plus poor record keeping were also cited as bottlenecks in tracing assets, especially those not declared. The Inspectorate presented the 10 most compliant institutions, with the President and his Vice in the lead, followed by Permanent Secretaries and Public Service Commission, with the least compliant led by Uganda Tourism Board.
Institutions. The least compliant institution, Uganda Tourism Board, at 7.14%, followed by Atomic Energy Council, 10%. National Library of Uganda, 31.25%. UBC, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. I hope after this we will continue to get favorable coverage. You are number 4 when it comes to the least compliant institutions at 33.33%.
The Inspectorate of Government is committed to protecting security and privacy of personal information. Sudat Kai, UBC.
Now, through their legal team, 36 National Unity Platform supporters who were on charges of unlawful possession of ammunition have filed an application in High Court Criminal Division for court to be pleased to grant them bail. Now, the applicants say it is their constitutional right to be granted bail and that there is no proof that they will incite violence, as state alleges.
During the last court sitting at General Court Martial, its chairman, Lieutenant General Andrew Guti, declined to grant bail to 36 National Unity Platform supporters.
The act of violence by the applicants are likely to continue if released on bail. In the premises, this court declines to grant bail to the applicants. The application is hereby dismissed.
The suspects were denied bail Monday morning through the National Unity Platform legal team filed an application in High Court Criminal Division, presenting several affidavits to prove a strong basis for their application.
This is of the presumption of innocence, that they are all presumed to be innocent. They have never participated, they have never been convicted of any charges of the nature they are facing, and they have lined up a number of substantial sureties. They have lined up over 50 sureties, who include top officials of the party they belong to, the National Unity Platform, led by Honorable Kyagulanyi.
Councillor Musi also highlights on Detective Assistant Inspector of Police Weteka Peters later. On his investigation, court denied the accused bail at the onset of the case.
That statement had no legal value. They were denied bail on the basis that actions of violence are likely to continue. Like we mentioned, and they have all averred in their affidavits that none of them has ever been convicted of any act of violence.
The 36 National Unity Platform supporters that were denied bail include Eddie Sebu Alais, Eddie Muntwe, Bukeni Al Alais Nubiani Lee, Tamale Fahad, and Yoreto Daniel Alais Dan Magic. The accused are detained at Ganchitadiagment prisons. Prosecution alleges that on 3rd January 2021, at around Makere Kavule Chigundu Zone in Kawempe Division, Kampala District, the 49 accused persons were found in unlawful possession of 4 rounds of ammunition of AK-47, the said ammunition being a monopoly of the Defence Forces. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Self-styled lawyer Male Mabirizi has run to the East African Court of Justice challenging Chief Justice Alfonso Luini Dolo's refusal to recuse himself from the presidential election petition of 2021 filed by Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert. Now, Mr. Mabirizi wants the East African Court of Justice to nullify the decision which was made by the Chief Justice, saying it violates Ugandans and petitioners' rights to fair hearing, among other grounds. Yet he confirmed that he was a former lawyer to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Following the refusal by Chief Justice Alfonso Luini Dolo to recuse himself from Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert's presidential elections petition of 2021, the applicant lawyer Male Mabirizi Monday morning filed an application in East African Court of Justice appealing the Chief Justice's decision. In filing this application, Male Mabirizi says if Chief Justice acknowledged being a former lawyer to President Museveni, the prime respondent in Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's presidential petition, this makes it clear for him to recuse himself from this case.
So that if Uganda has its own rules, for example, 45 days, those rules apply as long as they don't contradict the treaty. But we are saying you are contravening the East African Treaty. You are proceeding in a manner which is illegal. You are proceeding in a manner which defeats common sense, which defeats human rights, which defeats rule of law. Can you proceed? So you cannot be bowed down by Ugandan laws when you are interpreting the South African Treaty. So at the end of the day, whether they have rules or not, the South African Treaty takes precedence.
Mr. Mabirizi also wants Chief Justice Dolo to give reasons for refusing to recuse himself from this petition.
So the right to fair hearing in Uganda is at stake. This Luini Dolo, without even giving reasons, is going ahead to continue with the case. The other day was entertaining an application for withdrawal. They are gazetting, everything is going on. So I want the South African Court to nullify that decision of him refusing to recuse himself, and also nullify all the decisions in respect of Kyagulanyi. Because Luini Dolo purely is a former lawyer of Museveni, he agrees with that.
Mabirizi also filed another application to the Supreme Court Registry, wants court to hold all the proceedings of the petition until the final decision from the East African Court of Justice.
And that is premised on Article 38, Sub-Article 2 of the South African Treaty, which says that when a matter has been referred to the court, the partners shall restrain themselves from aggravating the situation. Because at the end of the day, if they proceed with the petition, and then the court finds that actually they were not supposed to sit, then the parties and the country will have gotten a disservice, because you will not call them back to come here and again repeat.
The appealed decision was made on 23rd February 2021 by the Chief Justice. In this application, Male Mabirizi also wanted Supreme Court to quash the ruling delivered by this honorable court when it declined to grant Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's application for one to amend the grounds in his petition. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Well, UBC News at 8 takes a very short break, but we'll return with more stories. Don't move an inch.
For the first time in Uganda, you can pay in installments and own a smartphone instantly. Get to own the Samsung A3 Core, Samsung A01 or Samsung A11 and pay back in either daily, weekly or monthly installments for a period of a year. To check if you're eligible for the offer, dial *284*49# today. You also enjoy free 500 MB on the purchased phone every month for the entire loan repayment period. Ha! Uganda nyuma! Airtel, the smartphone network, in proud partnership with MasterCard, Samsung and Asante Financial Services.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Wait.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom Bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles.
MTN.
Welcome back from that break, and we're glad that you're still watching UBC News at 8. I'm Lorraine Masika Kazumoto, and on the sign language you do have Elizabeth Nakakoni. Now moving on with more stories, following a growing criticism against the Forum for Democratic Change FDC opposition party leadership over the just concluded general election, with the party registering their poorest performance in 15 years of existence. Its top leadership will now meet all elected members at all levels of legislation this Thursday in Bujiri district. Now the meeting aims to launch a national mobilization program where the party is set to lay strategies on how they can regain support from Ugandans. Now FDC's party spokesperson Semuju Nganda revealed that the campaign will be spearheaded by party president Engineer Patrick Oboy Amuriet.
In the just concluded 2021 general election, Forum for Democratic Change FDC party registered its lowest performance in all electoral activities, having scored 3.26% in presidential elections compared to the 2016 presidential elections, where the party got 35.61%. Now, the party is going back to the drawing board to review their performance in the previous elections, where a detailed report will be compiled and presented to the National Executive Committee. Elected leaders will be met by the party's top leadership at a function to be held this Thursday in Wujiri district.
Party President Engineer Patrick Amriat will this Thursday, Thursday this week, together with the senior leaders of the party, including the Secretary General, the party chairman and others, they will be in Wujiri to launch the FDC nationwide. These meetings are to review the performance of the FDC in the last elections, and when the senior party leaders headed by the president and other delegations have been to all parts of Uganda, a comprehensive report of what the FDC leaders went through in the last elections will be compiled. That report will be presented to top management. It will be discussed by the National Executive Committee and the National Council. It will also pose the way forward for the party.
Due to the party did not hold internal elections, hence a decision to extend for a few months tenure of current office bearers with election set for between June and July this year.
Because you are aware that the term of office, including mine as a secretary for publicity of this party, came to an end in July last year. So we extended time without the COVID restrictions. We think we will have to hold those elections, and most likely will start in June or July.
Meanwhile, he has also demanded